I'm gonna make a few videos about the process of making orchestral parts in finale, and basically I'm gonna record the entire process with a few explanations of what I'm doing. Maybe it will be useful for someone else, but for the most part I'm doing it for myself, and to remember things that I'm doing. So I just want to show you first the basically how the score looks. So a little bit of a history on this. So this is the third movement of the Concerto for Cimbalom and Orchestra. This summer I made a version for Cimbalom and wind ensemble. So, but the original was for Cimbalom and Orchestra. So after I completed the wind ensemble version, I decided to go back to the orchestral original and renew the score, kind of like polish it a little bit, like not in the sense of the notes so much, but in the sense of the parts. So because I think when I was working on this piece, this piece is like an older piece. It's probably about 20 years old now, and I think the last time I worked on the version for the Cimbalom and Orchestra was about 10 years ago. So the parts back then, I took a shortcut, short way out. For example, I did something like this. I would group the French horn 1 and 2 on one part. I would group the trombones on one part or something like that. So now one of the reasons why I decided to go back and renew the parts is because I wanted all instruments to be on separate parts, like it is the usual way, and of course just to polish the parts a little bit, not so much in the way of the changing the notes or something like that, but more so in the technical aspects, on the layout on the page and stuff like that. So but for the most part, again, is each of the wind instruments to be on a separate part, and I think basically that was the goal. And I discovered a few other things in the process, and plus just a few. So this is the third movement, but so the way I was doing this first is I took the original file for the orchestra, and I used a lot of I would open up. For example, I had flutes 1 and 2 on the same line, so I would create flute 1, flute 2, the staves, and I would copy the intervals, whatever was going on, and I would just erase the top or the bottom notes. And for this I'm thankful for the jet stream finale, the options to quickly erase top, bottom notes, and so on. Yes, so this was very, very handy in this process, the options to just select the notes and erase. So that kind of did speed up the process a lot. And then the other thing is, so after I did this, after all parts were on their own staves, I copied these parts to the file, the wind ensemble file, erasing the instruments that I wouldn't need. So there was practically there was no instrument that stayed the same between the two versions, except for the percussion group. I kept all the percussions the same. I think there are 4 percussion players, total of 4 percussion players, so that part stayed the same. So the reason why I copied the the updated instruments from the original score is because I did want to keep the percussion intact, and I also didn't want to keep the soloist also intact. So that was a plus. All the tempo changes, all the marks were in the score for the wind ensemble, so that also stayed the same. So I decided to keep the wind ensemble as the template, for the whole piece. Just basically inserting the string parts, inserting the updated woodwinds and brass instruments. So all this was quite time consuming, but it works. I think it was the fastest way to do this type of thing. So I basically kind of renew the whole thing. What else? So maybe I want to just mention that practically I didn't change anything except for maybe just a few small moments, and there were a few moments which I took the idea from the wind ensemble, like and one has to kind of know this piece to know the difference, but this is the third movement, Andante Tranquillo section. This used to be a part with the string, where the string could hold notes, and I sort of did a similar thing as in the version for the wind ensemble. I just thought that there's a little bit too much of the same similar sustained chords in the strings overall in the whole piece. So this would be one of those moments that would share some of those sustained chords, but not in the strings, in the winds. So just creating some variety. And also a bit later in this movement, this section, Piumoso, all of these 16 notes used to be in the strings, and I created this little different thing, also inspired by the wind ensemble version of this in this spot, yes. But again, these are very this is just a few moments like that. For the rest, this stayed the same, absolutely the same. Of course, the soloist part didn't change at all. So okay, and there was no changes in the form. Anything stayed the same. So okay, before I go into the making of the parts, I just also would like to say that if somebody is watching this who is not a experienced Finale user, you probably need to to get more experience with Finale to understand what's going on, but maybe some would be able to get something out of this. Also, maybe if you see something and you have a better way to do this, you can put it in the comments. I'm always happy to read that and see if that works. I know there is very few composers who need this type of thing and who write this specific, I guess, specific needs like that, who have this type of needs. But I'm sure there are a few of composers who can do the same. So now, the good thing about this piece, this is not necessarily like a strictly orchestral piece. A lot of the stress is on the soloist, obviously, yes, but there are some moments with some extensive writing, I guess, for the orchestra. And just keep in mind, this piece was written about 20 years ago, so so it was interesting for me to go back and see. I can remind myself about this piece. Okay, so just before I go into making parts and things like that, I just want to mention a few things about what I have here, the setup in Finale. So I've been using the program for about 20 years or so, but only recently I've started looking at the Finale script. So the Finale script, these possibilities that this offers, and also Lua scripts have been exploring those possibilities. I'm not an expert in writing any of those scripts, but I think it's really smart idea to use them, especially if someone spends a lot of time with Finale. So and the community is really excellent. There is a group on Facebook, and you have a question, they always answer it. So they're very, very friendly people and try to help. So I already showed that I'm using the JetStream with the Stream Deck. So it's very, very convenient, and this is like I guess the first view of the Stream Deck here that I have, and basically I'm gonna use it, and you'll see what's happening. So some of these buttons are from the Stream Deck, some of them I programmed myself in the sense of the shortcuts, or the comments that I use the most, and it really saves time and clicks too. So but the basic stuff, without even any of those external devices or scripts, is giving yourself more space here. If you setting this on the side, that sometimes helps. Also, there's there are some shortcuts that you can set if you're just starting on this and you haven't never used shortcuts or anything like that. This would be really useful, like to set up the shortcuts for tools. Here's some information about this that I put down like a few years ago when I was just getting started on this. But this is very useful, and it really speeds up things. So I only have the comments here for the tools that I don't have like the shortcuts for. Yes, so these are the most common ones. I decided to keep this because sometimes I would need them, and if I would run back and forth, that would take too much time. So basically this is my setup, and everybody can find their own. All right, so basically this is the idea, the beginning idea. So let's start. And I will remember a few things to mention also as we go. Now I want to show you a little secret here of secret, I guess. It works for me, and I just started to use this. For example, when you write a tempo change, yes, or it's the tempo alterations and tempo change. So what I'm doing here is, and as you can see here, I probably copied the same few files. I copied parts from different files, and that's why all of this is created. And some of it is, again, 20 years old or something like that. But toward the bottom here, I've set categories for score tempo markings, score tempo alteration, parts, same thing, tempo marking, tempo alteration. So why did I do this? Because I guess the different sizes in the score and parts, this really works to do this type of thing. So to put I double each of these tempo changes. It's just like it doesn't show, only the score one shows here. So it's basically for the reason of the different sizes, as far as I remember, and so that way it's a bit more control. And what else, like poco ritenuto, those alterations. Also, it's very useful to set it to start in the parts, to start on in the bar, yes, at the beginning of the bar, not where you have where you clicked on it. So in the score, sometimes it's useful to do it you know, like where you want that tempo change to happen, like tempo alteration. But in the parts, most of the time, the best idea is to have this start like the tempo change. Yeah? So basically, it's just a little hint that I found that really works better if you do that. So, and the reason for that is when you make parts, when the two bars come very close to each other, one will collide with the other, and best way to avoid this is to have the tempo alteration start on the beginning of the bar. So, but this again, this you can accomplish if you have separate tempo marks and alterations between the score and part. And I also I don't use the same file for score and parts. I will have separate ones. There are a few reasons for that, but I've been trying to find ways to keep it one file, but it's just not possible currently. There's lots of smaller problems that appear, and you just have more control when you have two separate files, one for score, one for parts. Just one has to make sure that there are no extensive changes after you've because you have to to do the double work, change the parts in both, change the elements in two files. That takes twice the work, but that way you have more control. So I'm also have to say that I also have the Elbsound Perfect Layout plugin, and I've been using it, and I will be using it with this, and I highly recommend it. Also I've been in touch with Jan, who makes this plugin, about a few questions that I had, and he is always very responsive and very helpful. Yes, and this is something that continues. It's very complex. There's a lot of things. It's a really powerful tool, and I've been using it for about, I guess, a year or so, maybe a bit more. But this is really most useful on the bigger scores. On a score like this, with a lot of edits, and something that comes from the old days, this could be also useful, but one has to be very careful, and there are a few things that I noticed, how to get the most out of the Elbsound Perfect Layout plugin. Okay, so that being said, so this few videos that I will record will be about the technical things, not about the musical details, but more about the technical, the visual things about making parts. Okay, so first thing I will do is I will save this as score. Okay, something like this. I'm gonna save a copy as parts. So now I have. Okay, so let's first run the plugin in Score for the score. So before this happens, there are a few things that one usually needs to do. The first one is to see the preferences and this option, very important option, maintain system locks, and that's what we want to do for this file, because it's an old file. I like the way you know, the bars, the systems are set. Also, before I run the plugin for the score, I just want you to see how it looks at the moment. Yes, so this is the way this page is like a cadenza, so it's okay. This is what we have at the moment. Yes. So the solo part is at the bottom. Okay. All right. So. Okay. Alright, so we need to be here. Interesting. This is it. So I've been going with my mouse on my second screen, so yes, it's very simple. Alright, I wanted to select everything. Yes, here it is. And I'm going to music spacing, apply music spacing here, select all parts, score. Now I don't want it for the cimbalom, so I'm gonna leave that off, because there are a few cadenzas there, so I don't want for this to mess too much with this part. So everything else is already, as I already mentioned, all the percussions I already have from the other version, so I'm gonna ignore that. But let's yeah, this is all good. Okay. Okay. Yeah, just checking to see. Everything looks okay. Yes. Also note that I have no page breaks set up for every page, and locks and everything. So okay, before I run the plugin, I'd like to go and check a few things. I'm gonna check the French horn, the clefs in the French horn, treble and bass clef, to see if it looks optimal. Sometimes here and there I could have some problems, some mistakes as far as the clefs. So for the French horns, let's see if I can find anything here. Okay. That's good, that's okay. Again, this is just to check the French horn to see if there could be something more optimal. Like for example, in this spot right here, this doesn't look very good. So alright, I'm going to see if I can select So I'm in the clef tool now. Let's see if I can change that to treble clef. I actually want all of this to be in treble, so now it doesn't look quite good. Okay, I'm doing the right thing, so I'm going to try a little bit here to drag this clef. Okay, so this is better. Okay, let's see. Next page. This is okay. This is okay. Yeah. We can do the clef here, doesn't really matter. Or leave it the way it is. We have a few alignment issues because I haven't. This is the rough score, and in some parts really need the plugin that I'm gonna use. So we'll see if that will fix things, but we should be able to fix it. So it's a very small thing, but it's kind of, I could leave it like that. It's fine, not a problem. So, however, here I wouldn't do that. So I'd probably put this one. Okay, right here. See, I was hoping that this would fix it, but it doesn't. So maybe it doesn't because of this. Yeah. So this is the automatic spacing. It's usually off for me, but it didn't really fix it. So let's see. I'm gonna have to go back and drag it again a little bit. Yes. Okay. Alright, so this was the first thing, checking the horns, the clefs. Okay. Now in this score I have piccolo and flute 2 share the same part, so you know, I'm thinking now that what I'm doing now, I probably would need to save as parts as well. That step I took too soon. I'm going to do these changes, and then I'm gonna save this as score, but also as parts. Yeah. So I'm gonna, just before I run the plugin, I would really save it again as parts as well, because these changes are necessary in the parts as well. So let's see. So right now the second thing I'm doing is I like to see, so flute and piccolo, I'm gonna see if everything looks good, and also bassoon 2 and contrabassoon, they also share the same, it's the same performer on the both instruments. So let's see. Yes. Okay, so these are the changes I'm interested in. I know I don't want it to be bold, so just gonna do that. Control soon. Good. We have this next one. Also, I want to make sure that this needs to be there as well, just in case. Now, in the score, this looks a little bit not very prominent, so I'm just gonna keep it keep it bold. Yes, in the score, in the parts, I'm gonna change it. So that's a quick change. Shouldn't be a problem. Also, just in case, I want to make sure that this is on. Okay, so I'm going back to bold. I'm gonna change that in parts. Okay. What to do? Okay. It's the same, yeah. It's good. Good. Another one here and here. It's the same one, I think, so yep, that's good. I'm seeing some strange from very old finale file. We don't need that, so I'm gonna erase it. So that kind of stuff, yeah. Okay. This little thing here is a tempo change. It's hidden. Tempo is a very tricky thing sometimes in finale, you know, so especially because of the human playback, you know. Of course one can program everything, but it's just like takes a lot of time. But human playback, if you know how to work around it, it can be very helpful sometimes. Okay, so here it is. I just want to see, yes, I just want to see that all of these changes are there. We can also see this in the part later on. We can see this in the part one more time. Okay. Next thing I want to check. I want to check the fermatas to see if all instruments have them. So right here is the first place. This is after cadenza, we don't need it here. But actually, no, we actually don't need it. Fermata will be a big fermata. Yeah. Right here is the fermata. Good. I think that's it. Yeah. Okay. The next thing, I guess we checked everything here. Sometimes it's nice to check the concertina, senza sordina, those kind of things, which we can also check in parts, like for the trumpets, for example, to see if all of that works. Concertino. Senza sordina. Yes. Concertino. Senza. Okay, that's it. Good. All right. So I'm gonna save this score. I'm gonna do something like this. And let's do one more save here, this time for the parts, because we did make a few changes. Oh, okay, parts. Okay. All right, so just to be sure, alright, let's open that. So first thing, we're gonna run the plugin on the score. Okay, and once more, let's check this. It's okay. Maintain system locks. That's good. Okay, and let's see. Actually, I just remembered an important part, which you cancel. I remembered an important part about the score and the parts. So we can actually go ahead now and do what we are doing, but for the parts, we will need to do one other step, which is the Q notes, and this is also very interesting. But again, for the score, we don't need that, so we can go ahead and do the this plugin, run the plugin here. Not now. Yes, it's an old file. Now it'll take some time, you know, this could take a few minutes. Yes. And I guess I can show you, I guess I can discuss a little bit more about this while we're waiting here. So let's see. I guess this is kind of self-explanatory. I use this a lot when I want to switch between like a specific bar in a part and score. I'm gonna use it as we continue this. Previous part is very useful stuff. All of this is a short link basically. Switching layers. Okay. Let's see. Manual page breaks. No. I want to keep the same page breaks. I don't care about the parts in this version because this is for the score. So, but I'm gonna click yes. Yes. Music spacing, yes. This is for the parts. I'm gonna do this later. Okay, now here, what I did was I unclicked this option, optimize tablet settings, because I spent a lot of time in the old file, you know, with the triplets and everything, so I didn't want it. And what else did I do? I think, yes. Here also, optimize rests. I also unclicked that option because I have a lot of bars with the hidden rest. So if this would be on, they all would show because it would be, all of them would be reset. So I don't need that. Okay, so those two options, and also those of you who are not familiar with this plugin, I also have the loose spacing, and then I saved this. What I just did, I saved as a profile here. So and it's the same, right? That I used before. So basically, and I only made, I think, these two changes. Everything else stayed the same, but there are many options here. It's a super deep plugin, extremely sophisticated in some ways, but the manual for this is very good also, you know. I guess it's excellent job on the plugin and the manual to this. For sometimes the manual, when you read it, you learn things about Finale, even if you spend 20 years with the program. So there are some people who are geniuses, you know, as far as programming, and they know these programs. So we know them as musicians from the musical side, yes, for the tasks that we need. But there are people who are extraordinarily creative in terms of the technical, that side of scripting and you know, the back door to Finale, the kitchen, so to speak. All right, so we just click on OK, and I'm gonna wait a little bit here. Okay, so it's gonna move some dynamics to the right place. Yeah, all this is good. Alright, and now I think it starts working or something. So going back to the StreamJet finale. Now I made a few links here, like space. There are several ways to space systems, several different menu options. In the page layout, there is this space system evenly. I think in plugins menu under score, I think I'm going to show you more precisely, but there is this version. It does slightly different version of this, and this also is another option in the same menu. So there's three different menus, and they do slightly different thing. And sometimes I use the three options here. Now rest of sets. This is a Lua script, very very useful for the Q notes. So basically what it does, when I'm going to show it as we will do this, but I just have to select the bars where I want to lower the rests, the whole note rests, and just a few very very quick things like adjustments, and they are automatically positioned below the staff, or at a distance, I guess, from where the current position or the position that is the default position. So this kind of needs no explanation. There is like a finale script. I also select the bars, and I can flip the tie just by pressing this button. It's really really useful. Otherwise one would have to go to the special tool palette, select this, select the right layer, and that kind of stuff. But that does it very easily. So this one I use a lot. Just press it, select, type in the bar number, press enter, and you're there. Yeah, this kind of needs no introduction. Now the performing side, like the listening to what you have, I guess that's a big part of a especially when you're working on something new, and you want to hear it, especially if someone has not performer or other more sophisticated things, sample libraries and stuff like that. So in Finale you can obviously you'll save a lot of time if you could select a line and press play selected and only hear those lines, those systems, or those instruments, or you can select all tracks. You can mute the selected tracks. Very very convenient. Makes it a little bit similar to a sequencer, at least in that respect, so you don't have to go through different clicks and menus, stuff like that. So very very useful. Out of all buttons, when I am looking at something, I probably use these three the most. Yeah, so I already mentioned this. It's very convenient. Kind of needs no explanation, especially when you have chords, or when you have, okay, here we go, when we have two parts written on one line, or three instruments written on one line, each with, just chords. You can quickly delete the top, the middle, the bottom, or you can only delete the top and the bottom, but then you're left with the middle note, so that's convenient. So yes, so basically I'm gonna use some of this definitely as we continue with this video and the videos in this group for the parts, for the orchestral parts. Okay, so let's see what we have, what the result the program gave us here. So some breaks, okay. Alright, so we have a log file with everything that the program did, I guess. And sometimes it says that you have to kind of check something if you want to do it that way. You know, you can check, you know, the measure, the stuff, you know, so it's really technical here, I guess. I kind of prefer to just take a look at it and see what I like and what I don't like and go from there. So, but just on a quick look, you can see that it adjusted, it did stretch, arranged them on the page beautifully, and everything looks tight and organized. Now this is that page with the cadence. I'm imagining that I'm gonna need to rearrange this a little bit because it's a little messy the way it was written. It's like a free cadenza, and I might need to adjust a few things. Like, for example, I probably will need to bring these few notes closer and put this trill, longer time on the trill. Everything else doesn't look too bad. The spacing here, I didn't want it to space anything in the solo part. Yes, all this, as you can see, beautifully, you know, dynamics all are lined in a nice way. So now sometimes there may be a few moments like this, which one needs to adjust. But we'll look at that. Also, I would like to mention also that this sometimes this plugin creates also the dynamics. That it puts it, especially on the low notes, it puts it this way. Now some of you may not like that. Sometimes it's this way, sometimes it's this way. So I don't know if I change this often or it's worth keeping. It doesn't look bad. It's just like sometimes I would say there's enough space to put it here, but this is another thing. It doesn't look bad. But this happens often sometimes with the low notes. Okay, so do you see it did keep the rests that I did hide, so that's a good thing. Yeah, I think it's pretty beautiful stuff. So really looks really organized. So stretched beautifully. Now we're gonna be checking the parts very soon, so I just wanna finish this here. Yeah. Now sometimes this is a solo instrument, so I don't think there is an option to this plugin doesn't really have an option, I guess, to yet to make like the solo instruments, give them more space. It will have the same spacing, but you can set that spacing for all the instruments. You can set a specific distance between the groups. So sometimes I feel like I would need to drag the solo instrument a little bit down in some spots at least. I guess it looks great as it is. No real need to do any changes unless, you know, there's someone visually wants to have this a bit lower. You know, that's just personal preference. Okay, So so this is good, and I was looking at the bottom of the page, but also this is the top page. Now, from time to time, this kind of stuff happens. I think it happens because, as you can see, the meter, I've put like I'm using the meters, the big numbers, yes, and from what I'm seeing here, there are a few things that I don't like, that I can quickly fix. For example, I don't really need the meter on this one, I just need it on the timpani, so I'm gonna get this fixed right now. Okay, so let's see. Okay, here it is. Display. Okay, and here it is. This is something I forgot to do when I looked at the score. So all of this is pretty good. I don't think there's any other problems like this. Yeah, so I think I have 3 meters that are showing usually at the top, the brass and the percussion. I did the timpani, the top percussion. I didn't want to put it on the strings because it would be a bit too close. It doesn't really matter that much, it's just like a matter of preference. So yeah, you can see this, yeah, and I'm gonna change this. Actually, I can do this right now while I see it. Very easy fix. And then the low notes, that spot, bar 178, yes, let's use 178. Here it is. Okay. All right, so I'm just gonna lower sorry, I'm not in the right place. Here it is. That looks okay. I want this a bit lower though. So this one a little bit lower. Maybe this too. Okay. Now, why not? Why not do this here? Okay, and now a few more corrections here. Actually, we're gonna lower the dynamic, not the volta here. So let's see. Okay, this one needs to go down a little bit. Okay, while I'm seeing this, I want to improve on that as well. Just going to do something like this. Let's see. Okay, not bad. I'm gonna lower this a little bit. fine. This is okay. All right, so I think, I'm not really happy that this is so high in this part. Okay. Now before I said I didn't like this. Yes, I don't like it's so high. So, but before I do anything else, I just wanna save this. I'm gonna let's save it. Right. Let's keep it simple. Only in the right place, though. Yeah. This is the score. So. Okay. So the problem here on this page is that I don't want it to be so high. Yes. So I think it's very high also because it's a top note. It's a high note. And you know, it puts everything higher. Most of the time, I think there is in this score is only two places that I noticed this problem. This is this one here, and this one right here. So let's see if we can fix it. So I can manually drag stuff like that, you know, each stuff. In order for me to put this down, I need to make more space here, right? So there's a few ways to do it. Let's try this way. So I'm gonna need to do it for both pages. So I'm gonna just I'm going to take I guess trumpet here up to the French horn here. Alright, so yeah, so what I did is I want to reduce the spacing let's start with this. So we're in Staff Tool, space staves, and I have 90% here, and let's see what we have. Yes, so that's good. Let's find other instruments that we can also do the same. I think these two would be good. These two would be good. It's the same. Yep, no problem there. I guess yep, that's fine. So what else? No, don't want to do it here. Let's see if we can find some more space. This is good. Okay, how about this space staves? Yeah, let's see if we did the difference between what we had and what we, yeah, we definitely, maybe we took a bit too much though. Okay, let's see. So just gonna lower it. Yeah, I think we took too much. So yeah, this probably will be sufficient. Let's take a look at this. It's fine. I mean, we don't really need to adjust it exactly, right? So I think now it's too much. Yeah, we took a little bit too much space, maybe. Okay, So let's try it again. It's not a problem. Okay, so I pressed I did press the undo a few times. I think this, because I think we took a little bit too much at the beginning, this is better, so we're fine here. Okay, we are fine. Basically this is the idea. Okay, and I said maybe we'll see later, maybe if I need to adjust the solo instrument to put it a little bit more space, to have it at a bigger distance from the double basses here. Maybe I will do that, but right now this is good. So alright, so this is basically the video on the score, and next one will be on the parts.